Hello, hello.
Hey, you hear me?
Edge on the wrong speaker. Now I think I can hear you. Wait, can you say something again? I'm not hearing you now. Let me restart Discord real quick. Doop 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 doo. I know you're gone. Yep, I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
What?
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Couldn't hear you. I wouldn't have said what.
I know. Well, yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hopefully get this done before the storm gets too crazy.
Where's number 12 here? I don't see it.
There isn't a number 12.
There isn't.
No.
Oh, that's the. Oh, okay. That's the. Yeah, I know. Never mind.
It's not number 12 yet, anyway.
My bad. Like my
Yeah,
Avengers shirt.
very nice. Is it just 3 of them?
Yep.
Yeah, I know it's a little confusing right now until there's, well, yeah, it's a little confusing for now with the order of things, but
Yeah, we'll be fine.
it'll be
We'll, we'll
fine.
get we'll get through it.
AP Dubs does like your Avengers shirt, and
Thanks.
he said take
Thanks.
it off.
No, I will not take it off or any. Mine.
Yeah, that's AP Dubs for you though. Okay. Let's see. So we had just looking over what happened on the last couple episodes here.
Oh, hi.
Okay.
Derp, 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 doop, doop.
What did I mean here? I'm just gonna skip over things I don't understand what I wrote.
Fair, that's fair.
It is not them we need to break. I think they're just saying. I think it was just Vader talking about Obi-Wan there.
I think so. Yeah. It is not them. I need to break because he's gonna break or something like that. I don't remember the exact quote, but I know he was talking on his destroyer to Reva.
Mm-hmm. Okay, hopefully my brain works throughout this.
Okay, I hope
Don't
so too.
explain.
That's weird.
What's that?
That's weird. Why is your brain not gonna work? Did it die?
Because I just took like a gazillion notes.
Oh,
What do you mean? What? Can
man.
only really
Oh,
do one of those episodes. All right. On top of actually producing a podcast, like it's a lot. But all right.
go
Let's
Shane.
yeah. Okie dokie. Let's just do it. Let's just go for it.
Oh, special weather statement for Waukesha.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Let's get this. Let's try to beat the storm then.
Yep. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Tornado watch. Awesome. All right.
Yay.
Here we go.
Great. I'll get swept
Okay.
away. I'm going to Oz tonight.
Okay.
Woohoo!
All right. In 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome back to Disnerds Plus, where we talk about your favorite nerdy shows on Disney Plus. This is episode 11 for Wednesday, June 15th, 2022. We're talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 5 today. I'm Shane.
I'm Mike. Hello.
Hey, Mike. How are you doing?
Good. Good. Good.
Good. We did just happen to watch the latest and greatest Part 5 of Obi-Wan Kenobi, as well as maybe another show that's upcoming. Stay tuned for that.
Won't talk about that one yet.
No, we won't, but, it's also kind of hard when Disney overlaps things, or Marvel.
But
or
it's
both.
so great as well. It's amazing.
Yes, it's also a great time to be alive.
It's a great time. Yes, it's a great time to enjoy these kind of films and shows.
Great time to be a nerd.
Oh yeah, nerds are the new cool thing.
Nerds make the world go round. All right. Well, yeah, I guess we could just, I suppose. What do you think? We could just talk about. That's not the right one.
Nice. Laugh track.
How about we talk about this instead?
Previously on
Obi-Wan Kenobi. What did we have? We had Obi-Wan getting all healed up in his back to tank. We had Leia getting interrogated by Reva.
Pretty scary.
Yeah,
for a 10-year-old. You gotta imagine.
Yeah, very much so. Thankfully, she's a strong young lady. And then
She's strong in the Force.
Indeed. Then they go to the old Fortress Inquisitorius, which is kind of a funny name, but there they went.
Oh, so cool.
Yes, and Obi-Wan went through the sea to sneak in, while Tala had her credentials, her creds for being an officer, I guess. Is that what she was?
An officer.
I believe some sort of officer, yes. And we, continue to have Reva interrogating, and then she was going to then proceed to what do you want to call it?
The one thing and the stuff and the thing.
Torture is the word I was looking for. She was going to put her in the old whatever
torture
chamber. And of course, before any of that happened, there was a little distraction. Tala was able to make happen, or I guess she wanted to speak
She was
to
just
Reva.
stalling. She was stalling, basically.
Right.
She was stalling for them.
And in the time that Tala made up whatever she had to about pretending she was a spy working for them or whatever, she Obi-Wan turned the lights out and
Sliced down some stormtroopers, I remember. That was sweet.
let's not forget the Jedi tomb of sorts that he'd seen right before that.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was sad.
Indeed. Yes. And so then there was what happened after that? Obi-Wan and Leia were discovered. They were discovered by a probe droid, that's right. And Tala ended up finding them, and then there was a crack in the glass that they needed to deal with. Obi-Wan needed to deal with, and ended up pushing all this water at the troopers and somehow got out of there and closed the door before he drowned himself. And then we saw some floating troopers along with it. Then followed up by a very poor disguise with Obi-Wan and Leia trying to get out of there.
Of course, no one could see the little legs like underneath the thing. Come on.
Didn't stop Reva from finding them, and then still managed, thankfully, had 2 speeders come in and take out some troopers, and they were able to escape on one of the speeders, but unfortunately one didn't make it out. And because Reva threw something at one of their speeders. And then Vader.
Yeah, it was like a power cell or something.
Yes,
some kind of
that
fuel.
sounds right.
Fuel.
Power cell sounds about the closest I could think of to describe that.
I think they said it was like a fuel, something with fuel. So it's something it has explosions to it.
Yes. And then Vader was very upset that they escaped, but then she Reva revealed that she had put a tracker on, or there's a tracker with them, and it turned out to be, of course, the Lola bot.
Lola bot.
So he was, he was down with that, despite force choking her in the air again or whatever. But
he likes to do that.
Yeah,
Darth Vader's
he's
pretty
wicked in this.
Yeah, I was a little scared myself.
It kind of adds up by the time we see him in A New Hope. He's kind of a middle-aged man. Maybe he can't get around as well. That's why we don't see some of his quite as aggressiveness, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's maybe how
we'll
I
just
could
go with
justify
that.
it. Yeah, sure, why not? That's why when Vader fights Obi-Wan, it's like the slowest fight ever in that movie.
I mean,
but there is a cool fan-made remake of that, which is cool. But okay, so the beginning of this episode now, part 5. Surprising, didn't expect to see this, but we start out on presumably Coruscant. Yeah, I mean it was. I couldn't tell at first, but you could see the lanes of vehicles in the background. They were just kind of
floating around,
kind of tiny. But then we had, as I put here, Obi and Annie chatting with each other, and then they start lighting up their sabers there for a potential duel. There's a lot you'll see in this.
It's a prequel to the duel of their fate.
Exactly. Yeah, so a lot of that you'll see in this episode, flashbacks to that, and I got the impression Disney used their, as I always refer to it, their young tech in this scene. I mean, it was a little
definitely had to.
Yeah, it was a little bit off. Like Hayden was maybe had a little more of a receding hairline than we'd last seen him, probably.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they could have put a little bit of wig stuff on him if make it look.
Yeah,
a
I
little
think
bit
it was
more.
mostly about the wrinkles or something they had to make
They had to clear those
adjustments
out.
for.
Yeah,
Right.
makes sense. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Which they've done numerous times now, or Disney in particular, with both Marvel and Star Wars now, I think. I think The Mandalorian maybe used some of that initially, and then it's just like with the Book of Boba Fett, I think they just completely did something new with that altogether. Didn't they hire the guy that did like the deep fake or something for that?
yeah, for end of the Mandalorian with Luke,
Mm-hmm.
he did a better job, and then they hired him. Like that's a good way to just show your skill.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all like open source. The deepfake stuff's all open source anyway, but it doesn't mean it's easy.
Saying you're gonna do it, you're gonna learn it, you're gonna learn how to do it.
It would be interesting to try sometime, but yeah, I'm sure it takes more than just. It's not super easy.
I don't even can't imagine what it takes. It's
Yeah.
sounds complex. Just de-aging someone
Right.
like that.
So we had then we were put onto a ship of sorts. It was it a Star Destroyer or what was?
That was like I think that was Vader's Star Destroyer. I don't know what it's called, but it's Star Destroyer.
Right. Because we get Vader sort of reflecting on the past there.
I mean, it's I think as they shoot, like when you see Annie and Obi dueling and like start to duel, and then you see Darth Vader right away. It's like kind of like one of those things where you're supposed to understand he's probably has his eyes closed right now, but you can't really see him because they're in a mask.
Yeah,
So he's just
sure.
like kind of reflecting.
Yeah, so then we had was this kind of weird that they had somebody introducing the third sister to Vader, even though
Yeah, maybe
they've been acquainted, let's just say, prior to this, but
maybe I don't know why they did that, but maybe he had to he just had to do it as his duty.
right, yeah.
Who knows?
He wants to get up in the ranks just as much as she does.
There you
Well,
go.
she reveals then to Vader that the tracker did in fact work and that they were arriving on Jabiim, and
Jabiim.
then Vader wants her to kneel and sort of at first I'm like, okay, this is like a subordinate, sort of thing, but it was actually to more or less knight her Grand Inquisitor. Although that would hurt if he actually used a lightsaber to do that.
Hey.
Like both knighting and branding at the same time. But yeah, so then we are taken to Jabiim, where the ship enters the atmosphere and lands in their dock. I don't even know what to call that. I'm trying to, because they've got these on
A dock.
they've
It's a what do they call it? It's like it's like a spaceport.
yeah. I was gonna say because like Tatooine has these like
Bunch of
open
those ports.
ceiling porthole, whatever you want to call it. But
I would say it's a spaceport because I've heard that term used in Star Wars before. They're like, oh, spaceport.
I think a spaceport is like the entire, like an airport, right? Like I don't know. Anyway,
I mean, it's just landing pad, ship
landing pad works. Yeah, that makes sense.
That goes into the ground and seals itself. That's it.
Sounds good.
Yep.
So there's a bunch
As
of
you were.
people, as you were. There's a bunch of folks waiting around there for the ship to kind of see how things panned out. And you know what? I think well, he must be real important. I can't think of the guy's name now that died. But nobody even asked at this point where this guy was. They were just happy that they got Leia back, but literally no one in the scene asked about
The guy that gets killed.
Phil or whatever.
Poor guy.
But then Haja is there, who is I don't know how to say it, Camille. I'll just say Camille. Is
Camille John. Yeah, I know.
I know.
Something.
But he's like, it's basically like, well, or Obi-Wan's like, what are you doing here? He's like, well, where else am I gonna go? He's now wanted by the Empire, for reasons. And then we get, as I keep calling him Little Cube. What is his? I can't think of his name. Anyways,
Ice
Cube's
Cube.
son. Ice Cube's son.
Little Cube.
Yeah, it says he talks about how they only have a few hours. I guess it's a little confusing. Like they're saying they have a few hours to like pack up.
They have a few hours to get. There's. If I was watching the subtitles, it said that they're trying to get on a certain trade route, and they only have a few hours for it as an open door or window before they can't do it. That's what I heard.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Yeah, because so it's not the Empire. Like it's not the Empire.
I
That
don't know.
they
He didn't really say it. He just kind of mentioned they only have a certain amount of
Right.
time to get out of here.
Right. Well, it turned out they have a lot less time. Because it shoots back to the Vader's Star Destroyer in hyper, going light speed, approaching Jabiim, and put down a quote here about it is not them we need to break, which is something Vader, I believe, says, and I think he's really just referring to like they really
Obi-Wan.
only need Obi-Wan.
Yep.
This particular scene. Oh, sorry, I just wanted to read what AP Dubs had said here. Talk about Star Wars now. A very old man fights a very old robot man. That is basically the premise of A New Hope, I think. So back on Jabiim, we see Lola, the robot, the little robot, go hover off for no one's watching or anything, and goes up into some wiring in this place, like the I don't know what you call it, server room or something, but
It was like the I don't know. It was in the air duct or something too. It was weird.
Meanwhile, Obi-Wan's reading these sort of glyphs that are up on the wall. Whatever is it like Jedi sort of scripture?
Yeah, it
or
was
something?
Jedi's. It was it's Star Wars language. I can't remember what it's called. It's like what's the Star Wars language? Let me
Gotcha.
see. It's like their words.
Yeah. While you're looking that up, we do see Obi-Wan.
Arabesh. It's called Arabesh.
Oh, okay. I don't believe I've known that. But thank you for
Yep,
looking
look it up.
up.
It's called Arabesh from Wikipedia.
Classic. So then we see
Good old Wikipedia.
Yes, it is a good resource for sure. We do see Obi-Wan. Then there's like a box of lightsabers there that he's sort of looking over, and I guess this is are these the Jedi that she's saved? Presumably that they've actually saved. That they're all just kind of together, I guess.
I don't know if those are all Jedi behind him. Otherwise,
Right. Well,
I-
yeah, not all
I
of them,
think
but
I was gonna say because they'd be like, "Wait, Obi-Wan? Okay, let's do this. Like, we got an army, we got a general back." Like,
right.
I think the Jedi. She's happy that she helped save the Jedi because she's only come across a few, but they're also they're just also the younglings. So there's youngling Jedi. So I think that's what her goal is just make sure they get into a safe place so they don't get hunted by the Empire because they're
right.
constantly hunted.
Yeah. He also picks up a cloak at that point that I wasn't I don't know if it was just like a classic Jedi robe or
It was
whatever
it was a Jedi robe because there was lightsabers and I think there was just probably just Jedi just leaving their Jedi stuff behind so they don't get caught.
right. So he was kind of
Which
more or less reminiscing here.
right. It's surprising though that they would leave their lightsabers. You'd think they at least keep that,
Mm-hmm.
unless those are dead Jedi lightsabers. So. But they never really
Yeah. They don't
clarified
really
what it
explain,
is.
yeah. Then of course we see Lola starting to fry some wires up there, which proceeds to have the roof of this launchpad spaceport thing close, and alarm, classic Star Wars alarm blares after that. Then we get it's back to the flashback. I guess it would be, I didn't really think about it at the time, but this would be like episode 2 time period, right? Because he's still got the ponytail. He's still a Padawan at this point.
I'm wondering if it was
Anakin.
after Clone Wars or before, or after the Attack Clones or before Attack Clones.
Well, I would guess before, but yeah, because it's I'm only speculating because they seem to have time to train, and they're not like, maybe didn't seem as urgent to be in battle as much. I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, they were more calm because that was probably the 10 years between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean,
That
it
was
could even
10
be.
years.
Yeah, it could be before.
What do you think?
Episode 2. Even.
Now I'm kind of curious. They should I didn't even think of that. There's a big 10-year gap between Phantom Menace and the Attack of Clones. Even let's give some of that now.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt.
I'd love to get that story. And
Wouldn't
what's
doubt it.
there?
There's plenty of story to explore.
Oh, I forgot about that because 2 and 3 are like 3 years apart. So it's not too big of a gap. Which what's happening. It's Clone Wars. That's that whole show. So
Yeah.
you already
And that's
have
a lot. Like that's like the most. What I mean, that's literally the most content of any series Star Wars has ever had ever. Now that I think about it, but
and now they they got lots of stuff coming. Lots.
yeah,
Ahsoka's gonna be fun.
because Bad Batch
Anyway.
is like Bad Batch in a way is like Clone Wars season 8, right? Like,
Well, it's going into the period between 1 and 2, or no, I'm sorry, I'm thinking 1 and 2 still. 3 and 4, yeah. So you get the starting of the beginning of the Empire, which is kind of cool because I always wanted to see that, like when they transition the clones to stormtroopers and everything.
right. So anyway, they're back. They're doing the flashback again. They're back and they're continuing to fight. So there's a lot of this back and forth with the flashbacks, and brief flashbacks. But then we get Vader back on the ship. We see the breathing. He looks at the planet and says to launch the attack. And then back on Jabiim, Obi-Wan kind of gives a speech, like a Independence Day style speech here a little bit, but yeah, he
a little attaboy, come on.
Yeah, and he talks about how he's like, we can't really fight them, but we can maybe hold them off long enough to get out.
Yeah.
And 2 ships approach. We see several stormtroopers approach their hangar door, and there's a few of them that are the like black colored stormtroopers. I don't know, what are they? Is there a different name for that also, probably?
I would have to go back and play Fallen Order to remember what they're actually called, but they're only around when there's Jedi present, so
okay. Well,
put that together somehow.
Yeah, I'm not to be confused with Dark Troopers, but
No, they're not Dark Troopers.
because they're actually dudes in there. And we do see some pilots, some stormtrooper pilots like that, even in A New Hope, like the ones that were in the Death Star trench scene, I think. But I don't know if it's different technically or
maybe
or not. But so then Reva's the newly, I put third sister here. Well, now she may not even. She just goes by Grand Inquisitor, I guess, at this point, right?
Yeah.
Maybe she's still, but she still holds I guess you could still say she's the third sister, though. I guess, but She
Yeah, I think she'd be classified as third sister. That's just her classification.
right.
Their ranks. I don't know how that. It's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah. So the troopers kind of leave a little pathway for her, and she she walks through to the front and tells them to fire. And they've got this heavy gun that the path folks didn't necessarily anticipate because it's doing quite some damage to their hangar door right away. And then we get we got I wish I could remember
Little cube.
Little Cube's real name, but
I let's find out what little cube. I wonder if it comes up if I put little cube in here.
He's looking for some, wondering how they can get up to fix the wiring, and I think he's talking to his name Haja about if you're small enough to get up there, and then Leia immediately says, "I'll do it. Give me a ladder or whatever."
Little Cube's name is actually O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Oh, it's his real name.
Yeah.
What's his character's name?
Oh, his character's name. Don't know yet. Hold on.
Now I want to look up his let's see, his Wikipedia page. Okay, yeah, just verifying. It does say Ice Cube is his parent, so confirmed.
He plays as Roken. That's what it's called.
Roken.
His name is.
Okay, I have to put that in here somewhere. I'm gonna forget it next time anyway, but I'll try to remember that. And then so Obi-Wan, at first Roken is reluctant to have Leia get up there, but Obi's like, I trust her, you should trust her, and then Obi-Wan asks Haja to watch her, and he says, I'm not a babysitter. But Leia goes ahead, gets up there, and starts taking a look at all that wiring. Then Obi-Wan sees that he's got a hologram transmission from Bail Organa, and even though he says, I know we talked about not communicating, but I think it had just been a while, and he hadn't heard from him, and I'm starting to think something's up. And he also talks about going back to Tatooine potentially to, I think, keep an eye on Luke.
Help Owen, he said.
Right. Then Tala comes over and asks if everything's all right, and then she goes into a story about, I don't know if this is sort of like the intro to her venture here or not, but ends up talking about how 14 people died and how 6 of them were children.
This was when she was like in the Empire. I think it was what she was doing something good with the Empire until she saw she was killing children and people that were not actually. I think they were they all Jedi or something, or were they just random people?
I kind of got that impression, but now she's got notches in her belt or her holster or something for
holster. Yep, in her holster.
You said for everyone that she saved or
saved, yeah, yep.
Yeah, usually that would be like every kill or something, I guess.
Unless if she's killing, then that'd be a different thing. But no, that's for her saves.
Right. So they're the troopers are still blasting away at the door, and they realize, this doesn't seem like it's going to go too well. So Obi-Wan comes up with the brilliant idea that he tells Roken that he says to tell her that he wants to talk. And so she does end up approaching the door, and right off the bat, she's like, your stall tactics aren't going to work. Like, she knows that's what's going on here, but he realizes pretty quickly, she's like, how did you actually know who Vader was? And then he puts it all together. And I had heard this rumored prior to this. It may have even been on one of our previous Caller In's podcast I listened to, but which we'll talk again later about. But he realizes that she was a youngling in that very opening sequence we see in the first part of this series. That so she saw Vader or Anakin and Vader both, I guess, the same person at this point, or was Anakin dead at this point? It's a little bit fuzzy there, but
I mean, same person, but he's same person, but just doesn't go by Anakin. He goes by Darth
Right.
Vader because I don't think he wants anyone to know that he is Anakin Skywalker underneath there.
Right. So she sees all her friends and people that she basically considers family die in front of her, so she ends up playing dead, which is kind of like, how did Anakin doesn't realize that he didn't like slice her with a lightsaber?
Sense that like in the
Right.
Force, but
yeah, it was just kind of a hand wavy sort of thing a little bit, but anyway, she plays dead and ends up making it out of there alive, I guess, clearly. So Obi-Wan puts this together, and then they start talking about how, her real plan is to ultimately kill Vader, right? That's sort of the plan all along, which...
Because she wants revenge for basically him killing her family, because or her friends, but they were like her family.
Right. You think, like, we've seen her get close enough, like, she's clearly been close enough at this
Wasn't
point.
close enough, I guess. Wasn't really ready or...
Never maybe had his back turned to her at the right moment or something, let's just say.
That could have been. But he still sensed it. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so she was obviously... oh, yeah, because she makes a comment about how she was partially mad at Obi-Wan because, he trained her and he also wasn't there, or he trained Anakin, and he also wasn't there, when all her family was getting killed.
Murdered?
Right. So, she has enough talk at this point and ends up, we see her lightsaber slice through the door, and Obi-Wan has to kind of make sure he doesn't get hit at that point. But
he's doing the dance.
pretty quickly, she gets that door open very quickly after that. Like, it wasn't much of a...
I mean, she's got the Force.
I guess she uses the lock or something. But then, did she use the Force to actually, like,
she might have
open the door? Because
maybe it's just implied.
Yeah.
She was right there.
Seemed to open pretty quickly. But then Obi-Wan immediately Force pushes her back. And then they just come in blasting. We just see lots of laser fire, lots of deflection with lightsaber. Well, is he the only one with a lightsaber in this area?
Yes. Well, I mean,
despite
Reva has one, but
having all the lightsabers we saw prior to this, nobody else is utilizing those.
You think at least he'd grab a second one just to use for protection, but
yeah, because anything else is so uncivilized, right? What was that?
Yeah, exactly. Because he didn't learn that skill from Ahsoka with the two lightsabers.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you doing, Obi-Wan? What the hell, man? Yeah, so they're a little bit overrun, outnumbered probably, so they kind of get pushed back a bit, their group within the hangar. And so they keep shooting and pushing back more and more, and Haja is telling Leia to hurry up, and he said Obi-Wan said it's the red breaker, and she's like, I know. And we see back in the group that's getting pushed back. There's one girl, one woman in there that gets hit, and Obi-Wan picks her up and tries to get her back out of there. We see the loader droid, which it's another name I don't have in front of me, but that loader droid.
I think that's just what it's called, loader droid.
Oh, we had a name. We did have a name last episode.
Oh,
which I should
okay.
just bring it up. So yeah, because it's the loader droid, of course, that can't talk
Talk.
back. You can't talk back. You just can't talk. Yeah. Let's see. His name was, well, presumably, their name was. Let's see here. Boop 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 doo. We had Lola meeting. Oh, where is it? Crap, was it not the previous episode? Was it the episode before that? Must have been.
Yeah, it was the episode before that. It was episode 3.
Why is Lola? Why am I not seeing this? Oh, wait a minute.
Oh.
Wait a minute. I know what I need to look for here. I think meets. It's not that. It is. I don't know why I'm not finding this. It wasn't the second episode though, right?
3rd, I think.
It was the third. How about introduced? Introduced. There we go. Ned B. Oh my goodness. Because it's Lola is L0LA59 and Ned B is the loader. Ned. Ned's a great name for a droid. But anyway, so he's kicking ass. he's picking up troopers and throwing them down, right? And he does quite a bit of damage there. And then unfortunately, Tala gets hit. And Obi-Wan is continuing to fight off troopers with his saber. And then we see Ned B sort of kneel down over her. You can tell he's trying to protect
Shield
her,
her?
I think, at this point. Yeah, basically be a robot shield. And I think we got to hear the shutdown noises, like he's actually
keeps on getting shot in the back. Yeah.
Yeah, he's going down himself, and Tala tells Obi-Wan to go, and she shoots the door's controls, and they close. And meanwhile, she's holding a what do we call it, thermal detonator or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And says, "May the Force be with you," and then
boom.
Yep, she just lets it go off.
She knew her. I think she knew where she was at, so might as well just take a few people out with her.
Yeah, because she had like internal bleeding or whatever. She looked down and it's not looking good.
No bueno for her.
The doors close, and we get some somber music there, of course. But the other folks, I don't know if it's I think it's or I keep forgetting what is his name? Roken. Roken's asking if they're close. Please tell me you're close. And it's like, I'm working on it. Sorry. Hey, here, Herschel. Well, you're certainly not a piece of Sith. I made that joke in the TMS stream the other day, or was it like yesterday?
You're a piece of Sith, did he say?
Because Brian in there made some comment about he was talking about, they were talking about Solo, and he said Danny Glover instead of Donald Glover. So then they were like referencing those movies, Lethal Weapon, and then I put the title in there of I'm getting too old for this Sith, and but no, they chose a different one, but that's fine. Anyway,
all right.
We are then transported. We're doing well, Herschel. Hope you're doing well as well. We are back to the flashback, and we see more fighting continue. More lightsaber fighting going on, over and over lightsaber fighting. Back to Jabiim. We get Obi-Wan makes a comment about saying it's over. Like he comes to the realization it's over, and because he knows that he knows Anakin and his fighting tactics, which is part of the reason for showing these flashbacks. Yeah, and he says there are other ways to fight, because yeah, he leaves his lightsaber for one.
Mm-hmm. He leaves everything. He leaves his communicator, his lightsaber, his blaster.
Which is, I mean, I guess it's kind of smart because they're gonna take it from him anyway.
Right. So he left. Might as well leave it behind.
Right. So, yeah, he's maybe alluding to negotiation, sort of talking it through here, kind of like he was a little bit earlier. And then we see Layla continuing to work, or Leia continuing to work on the wires, and then we see Lola, who she didn't notice was in there the whole time, I guess, sort of up above, just kind of watching. And we see two stormtroopers are taking Obi-Wan sort of into custody, so to speak, but and that Vader is on his way, and Reva is there talking to him, and Obi-Wan makes a comment about, "You're not bringing him to me, I'm bringing him to you," for whatever reason. Like he's giving her the opportunity here to take him out, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And Obi-Wan then talks about how there's families and children back in the hangar, and that is she really going to let that happen again? So can tell she's kind of thinking about it here, like, and makes a comment about, how are you sure he's not going to see it coming?
Mm-hmm.
And but the troopers, so she's thinking about it, and the troopers take him in. Then we are what is it? There's a couple more flashbacks here, but the next one, we see Anakin. He's just being sort of merciless, and I think even Obi-Wan makes a comment about that at one point. And then he even makes a comment about it's over. Actually, what's that? Was it Anakin or was it?
I think it was Anakin telling Obi-Wan. No, this was in the. Maybe this was what. Yeah, no, it was right. Yeah, it was Anakin trying to tell him it's over. You've been beaten.
That's right, because he knocks his
lightsaber out.
Does he actually take it out, or does he? It was a little. He kind of knocks it away.
Just knocks it away.
Right. And then Obi-Wan makes a comment about your need for a victory, Anakin. It blinds you. As we see then again later, the next flashback, we'll see maybe why that is. But then back on Jabiim, Vader approaches and immediately asks where Obi-Wan is, and Reva says she has him secured inside. Then we get Lola kind of going after Leia up in the wiring area, but it wasn't really an attack. It was like I don't even know, because it's not really like a.
It was weird.
This droid doesn't really have like weapons on it, but it was
kind of like go at you like a bug. It's like
just buzzing. Yeah, just buzzing around. And I think maybe it was just basically trying to distract her, right, from from fixing these wires. But Leia pretty quickly sees that Lola's got a restraining bolt on her, and takes that off. And now that I think about it, boy, that came off a lot quicker than it did for Luke on whichever one he's trying to remove from R2 in A New Hope.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was smaller and a lot just put on freshly, so never know.
Yeah, so I hadn't really put together. Is a restraining bolt like automatically a tracking device, or is that just
maybe it can be? I don't know. I don't know how the
kind
technology.
It's
could be an Inquisitor bolt that has all-in-one.
Yeah, all-in-one restraining bolt for sure. Then immediately kind of figures out, wait, I could actually, Lola, you can actually light this for me. So Lola's actually helping her with the lighting a little bit right away, and pretty quickly gets the that hangar door
Door.
powered up, the overhead one, uh, and then Lola's all excited they got it working now because she's not a zombie to whatever that restraining ball was doing to her. But then we see the Obi-Wan's communicator is on the ground at this point, which is a bit of foreshadowing for the end of this episode. And Vader, then we see coming through the door. Right as the ship is taking off, which this is such a cool scene. Like we've never quite seen anything like this much force power before. I don't think. Not.
No.
So that was a huge ass ship.
In the games, I've seen it.
Yeah.
So it's now canon.
Yeah. Well, this ship is holding. I mean, it's a huge ship, and it's holding. I mean, it's not like Star Destroyer, but it's big enough to hold 50 people or whatever, or say 20 to 50 people, something like that, maybe. It's a lot. It's a lot of weight, and he immediately. Well, okay, maybe there's not may or may not actually be people in it, but he force pulls that thing back as it's taken off, brings it to the ground, and then starts ripping it open.
I never seen the force being used like that either, where it just ripped open a ship. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That means that's how powerful he is, because he's always in pain, because that suit's literally pricking him with all these gadgets and things to make sure he stays alive. So not only is the guy in pain, but physically, but he's also in pain emotionally because he lost everyone, and he blames Jedi for it all now. So
Right.
he's got a lot of hate. He's got a lot of fuel in his tank.
Yep.
Scary.
But despite alluding to people being on this ship, there were no. I guess it was like in autopilot mode or something. But it turned out to be a decoy, and we see the other ship fly up behind it, and presumably he used up all his force strength trying to take that ship down. I mean,
one would hope. You only gotta have so much mojo at one
right.
hole at a time.
So they are
That's
still
not bad.
They're still able to escape. Yeah, despite, thank God, that would have been bad for them. But so in our final flashback for the evening, we do end up seeing Obi-Wan force grab Anakin's lightsaber away from him, and makes comment about he said, until you overcome. And do you remember what what he's saying about exactly there?
It's because of it. It's something about you got to overcome your. It's something like, I don't know. It's not lust, but something for winning, or being always having to be the winner.
Right. A Padawan you will still be. Just kind of like Yoda speak a little bit there, but
so he's still a Padawan. That's how I look at it, technically. Because, I mean, Obi-Wan got away again.
I mean, he actually was like he never got the rank of master, but
yep.
I don't think he was still a Padawan when we see him in Revenge of the Sith with his long hair, or is he still?
Well, he was never given master, so I don't know what's between Padawan and master. Knight?
Right.
No.
Maybe
he's a Jedi Knight. I think he's a Jedi Knight at that point. I think he's a Knight. He's not a master.
Right. Okay, so then back on Jabiim, we see that Reva is approaching and she's ready to strike Vader, but from behind. So Vader, of course, stops her with the Force. Suspects it all along, really. But then she's ready to throw down more, and she ends up igniting the other side of her saber, which was cool at first to get to see before she starts using it as the sort of spinning Inquisitor
helicopter.
Yes, the helicopter.
The
Before that, she kind of gets a little bit of that Darth Maul action in there, I think.
She was also trying to counter all his force pushes and stuff.
Yeah, because he's really like he's almost got like a literal force field around him essentially, because she could not get any strikes on him, and she does end up doing the helicopter lightsaber spin there, and it's spinning, and then he uses the force to actually slow that thing down to a halt, I think, and grabs
Basically,
it. He
Yep.
force grabs it and then cuts it in half. But he does throw one down so that they can keep fighting back at her. They keep doing it, which is kind of a weird thing. Like that wasn't like a thing. I don't know. Like he didn't have to do that. That doesn't seem very Sith-like, almost in a way, to let her.
Yeah,
Keep fighting.
He's toying.
He was just
playing
toying
around.
with her or something.
Yeah, basically, he's trying to. I mean, if you're on the dark side, you could toy with people too.
Yeah. And then, as she is forced down to her knees, I guess, here at this point, and then she's getting flashbacks of this guy murdering everyone that she knew as family around her, and then he goes in for the final blow there, and puts that saber right through her, and Vader makes comment about how she's of no further use, and that we see the previous Grand Inquisitor come up just perfectly fine.
The OG Grand Inquisitor, you mean?
Yes, the OG comes up talking just fine, almost like he never like the same thing that happened to her hadn't happened to him. Got a lightsaber through the gut. But here he is, just fine. And he makes
he is.
He comments about how her rage was useful, but it has now become tiresome, and they were going to leave her in just where they found her, which was in the gutter. So we get we are then taken to the ship that has all these people from the path, right? That's what they're, I guess, what they're
they're part of the. It's a movement. It's like Underground Railroad, so it's path.
Right. Which is
something to do with it has something. It has like some Jedi mysticism behind it, or sounds like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Roken. We hear a little bit of like powering down sound, I think, or engine trouble.
It sounds like it fails. Yeah.
Roken comes up and tells Obi-Wan that their hyperdrive is down, and I believe that the Empire is right behind them, more or less. Then back on Jabiim, we see Reva in the, was it dirt? I mean, it's whatever the floor surface actually was in this place.
Yeah,
struggling.
Sure. Yeah, dirt. Yeah, it was like dirt.
Yeah, she's struggling and she's on her stomach, but then she notices a little bit ahead of her is Obi-Wan's comlink there, or was it comlink, or was it just like a hollow?
It's like comlink, hollow pad thing. I don't know.
Yeah, and so she kind of crawls to that, and she ends up seeing Obi-Wan's Bail's transmission again, and which kind of like cuts in and out a little bit, but she gets just enough info out of that, with like Tatooine, Owen, and the boy. I think those were sort of the key bits there, which is like, geez. So that could be potentially. I mean, obviously they're not just showing us that for nothing. Like she's gonna somehow survive this. What the hell? Why? How come everybody can survive a lightsaber to the gut in this show?
I don't know. I have no idea. Figure it out.
But meanwhile, we see Obi-Wan sensing something's wrong, and then he kind of sloughs it off almost like, it's probably nothing. It's just like, but you can tell he's still
Yeah,
he's still concerned. He's like,
something's up.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then we get to see it pans to Tatooine and the home of Luke, Owen, and Beru, and we see a sleeping Luke in there. So we shall see on
We shall see.
the conclusion to this season, because I believe I did hear that they did greenlight season 2 now, maybe.
Really?
Well, that's
I thought
what
it
that
was-
was
wow.
according to Ty Nisley, who. Well, before I get to that, I just want to read a couple comments here. Leave the lightsaber, take the cannoli. I'll force your field. So we did get another email from Ty Nisley of the Ty Nisley podcast, which I have listened to quite a few episodes of. It's good stuff over there they're doing. So here's what he had to say this week. Here is some clarification about the Darth Vader conversation that you guys had. From my understanding, Obi-Wan understood and recognized Anakin as Darth Vader, but with the assumption that Anakin died on Mustafar, which technically he did, and Darth Vader was born. He had assumed that the Emperor had replaced Anakin as Darth Vader with someone else and kept the term and name. Mike has a good point that it's very possible that he felt something in the Force, but chalked it up to all the Jedi being killed and lost in the battles that they were fighting. So honestly, it probably just got lost in the shuffle over Order 66. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Ty Nisley Podcast. Ty Nisley Podcast, co-founder of the Ty Nisley Podcast Network. Thanks again, Ty. Super nice guy. We've communicated since this and over Twitter and things. So really nice guy. Appreciate all your comments and your feedback, and looking forward to hearing from you some more. But yeah, I mean that's because that's a fair point. In the shuffle of Order 66, like, guess there was
There's a lot of chaos going on.
a lot going on for sure. Yeah, so like I even think back to that scene. I mean, it does make sense that it still does make sense that like he might have known, like he may have known that he got knighted, quote unquote, as Darth Vader.
Well,
But
he knew that he was called that at one point.
Right.
Before he was chopped up into pieces by himself.
right, but he also thought it also makes sense that he thought Anakin died in
Well,
on
yeah. Well, he
Mustafar.
thought he left him there to die because he didn't think no one was going to find him. I
Right,
wouldn't think anyone would be find him if you left him there.
right.
But fortunately, the Emperor knew where he sent him, so
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fortunately, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't have Darth Vader for it. I mean, whatever.
But what
Okay.
if Anakin made it as a light side user
Mm-hmm.
all the way?
Indeed.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Mike. Well, you know what time it is.
4.7.
4.7.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's go for. It's gonna be for something all the time, right? Like this is a decent episode. I'm gonna say a little lower though.
Go for it. Is it gonna be a point away?
I'm gonna say 4 or 5, and then we got a 4.6.
All of it.
Yep. There we go. So we got 4.844, 4.45, and 4.6.
Nice.
All
Nice.
right.
Nice.
Well, any final thoughts there, Mike?
Nope, not for this one. But covered.
All right. Most excellent. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening. Once again, if you want to write into us, that email address to do so is disnerdsplus@gmail.com. Our website is disnerdsplus.com. We are, at least today, we were back to recording at 8 p.m. on Wednesdays. over at twitch.tv/ShaveMadOx. Yeah, you can find us either at 8 or 7 for these next week. Probably will be 7 again because we're going to be talking about the final episode of Obi-Wan, but plan is to also discuss the first episode of Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
which,
Miss Marvel.
we may have, I may have watched for the first time tonight, and Mike may have watched for at least the second time tonight, but third? My goodness, you must have this thing memorized. All right, well, you can find Mike at Cool as a Cucumber. You can find me at Shave Maddox. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening and or watching, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye. Well, that was fun. I think we might have literally hear the rain
Huh?
right now. I hear the rain right now. Just
Oh, is it raining? Let's see. Oh, it's not raining by me yet. That's
it's
weird.
right
I can see
now
lightning though.
starting to. So at
Oh, it's
least I
like
got
really,
that
dude.
recorded.
It's like really, like there's no wind out there. It's really creepy. Like all the wind just stopped.
May the force be with you too, Herschel.
Made the fuck. Oh, I hear some thunder.
Yeah, I better get this thing posted quick.
Now I gotta figure out what to eat. Hungry now.
Oh
Tyler's
yeah, I forgot about food. I should probably. That's a good point. I can heat up my food while I'm working on this.
messaging me and like, want to play? I'm like, oh, I don't want to play games.
Kiss the
Like-
rain whenever you need me. What song is that, Herschel? Yeah, I don't. I might have to power things down for for this
Power
potentially.
down.
But we'll see. We shall see. I should probably try to get some sleep soon tonight. But
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm tired.
of course, I think this podcast has re-energized me for a second wind. That's usually how it goes.
Oh
Always
boy,
got
it
the
hasn't.
YouTube
It didn't do that to me. It made me like just want to eat and go to bed.
Yeah, maybe the food will change my mind.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. The food's gonna make me like really lethargic and be like, yep, time to go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right.
All right. Well, good hanging.
Bye. Thanks, Mike.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Catch you on the flip side.
All right. Thanks, Herschel and AP Dubs, for hanging out with us tonight. You guys are great. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's probably gonna be. I think that's gonna be about it for me tonight. Well, partially because of the storm here that may or may not be a tornado watch, and yeah, it is. And 2 more. Wait, 1 more. Tornado watch, flash flood warning. It's more about lightning, if there's any lightning. But yeah, I think there will be. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, you have a great evening as well, Herschel. Take care. Bye, everybody.